Rain stood atop the ancient black tower, its obsidian walls stretching endlessly into the storm-laden sky. The wind whipped around him, carrying whispers from distant realms, a cacophony of voices that only he could hear. For generations, his lineage had guarded this mystical structure, the axis upon which all existence balanced. Yet, as he gazed upon the fading glow emanating from the tower's core, an unsettling chill gripped his heart. The tower's power was waning, and with it, the world's fragile equilibrium teetered on the brink of chaos. He descended the spiral staircase, each step echoing in the hollow silence. And isolation. Like when I left up on the way, I thought for shadows danced along the walls, flickering like remnants of forgotten memory. Reaching the grand hall, Rain approached the central chamber where the tower's essence pulsed like a dwindling heartbeat. He placed his hand on the cold surface of the central obelisk, feeling the weak vibrations beneath his finger. "Why now?" he murmured. "Why is this happening?" A faint light caught his eye, a glimmer seeping through a hidden crevice in the stone floor. Curious, Rain knelt and traced the outline of a concealed hat. With a heave, he lifted it open, revealing a narrow passageway descending into darkness. Gathering a lantern, he ventured into the unknown depth. The passage led to a forgotten library, dust-laden and silent. Shelves towered over him, filled with scrolls and tomes untouched for centuries. One book in particular drew him, a colossal volume bound in worn leather, its cover emblazoned with the tower's emblem. Rain opened it carefully, the pages brittle beneath his touch. As he read, his eyes widened. The text spoke of the heart of the tower, an artifact of immense power that once sustained the tower's energy. Lost to time, it was said to be the key to restoring what was fading. A sudden gust extinguished his lantern, plunging the room into darkness. In the silence, a whisper slithered through the air, a voice not his own. "Rain, the enemy awakens. The balance is broken." He spun around, searching for the source. "Who's there? Who's there?" But only silence answered. He knew then that the tower was warning him. An ancient enemy sought to claim the remnants of the tower's power, and if they succeeded, all realms would descend into eternal night. Resolved, Rain understood what he had to do. For the first time in decades, he would leave the tower. The oath of his ancestors weighed heavily upon him, never to abandon the post. But these were dire times, and rules meant little when existence itself hung in the balance. Stepping beyond the tower's threshold, Rain was met with a world unraveling. The sky was fractured, streaked with unnatural colors, the ground beneath him trembled, and the air was thick with the scent of decay. Forests that once flourished were now twisted shadows of their former selves, and distant cities burned with unquenchable flame. He hadn't traveled far when he sensed he wasn't alone. From the corner of his eye, a figure emerged, a woman clad in armor that shimmered like the night sky, a staff glowing with ethereal light in her hand. "Rain," she called out, her voice both familiar and distant. He halted, gripping the hilt of his sword. "Who are you?" She approached slowly. "I am Allure, a warrior mage. I pledged my life to protect the tower alongside your ancestors." He studied her, searching for deception, but found none. "If you serve the tower, then you know its peril." She nodded solemnly. "I felt its cry for help. The realms are collapsing. I can aid you in your quest for the heart." He hesitated. Trust was a luxury he couldn't afford, but time was scarce. "Very well, but know that if you betray me, I won't hesitate." Ella offered a faint smile. "Understood." Together they ventured into the wildlands, a region once teeming with life, now overrun by chaos. The further they went, the more the world seemed to deteriorate around them. The sky above swirled with dark clouds, and the sun fought to cast its light through the oppressive gloom. Without warning, shadows peeled away from the surrounding trees, forming into menacing creatures with eyes like burning coal. They encircled Rain and Alita, hissing with malicious intent. "The Shadow Sentinels," Alita whispered, raising her staff defensively. "They were protectors of the tower." "Corrupted now," Rain replied, grimly. "Sets. They don't recognize me." The creatures lunged. Rain drew his sword, its blade humming with latent energy. He parried the first attacker, the clash resonating through his bone. Alira unleashed a wave of light, momentarily dispersing the shadows. But for every creature they struck down, two more took its place. The onslaught was relentless. Amid the chaos, Rain felt a creeping darkness within himself, a whisper of doubt that grew louder with each passing moment. "You're failing," a voice echoed in his mind. "Just like those before you, He faltered and a shadow creature seized the opening, striking him across the chest. Pain surged through him as he stumbled backward. Allure shouted, sending a bolt of energy to repel the attacker with focus. Gritting his teeth, he pushed the doubt aside, channeling his will into a powerful swing that cleaved through the surrounding shadows. The creatures shrieked and dissolved into mist. Breathing heavily, Rain looked at Allure. "Thank you." She regarded him with concern. "The darkness is affecting you. The tower's decline is weakening your defenses against it." He nodded reluctantly. "I felt it, a voice ... It wants me to fail." She placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "You're not alone in this, remember that." As they pressed on, the terrain shifted to arid desert, a vast expanse of sands stretching beyond the horizon. The sun hung low, casting elongated shadows that played tricks on the mind. They were nearing the ancient temple where the heart was rumored to be hidden. But with each step, Rain's burden grew heavier. Visions plagued him, phantoms of his ancestors appearing in the shimmering heat. Their faces bore the weight of countless failures. One stepped forward, his eyes mirroring Rain's own tree. "We could not save it." "Dearie," the apparition spoke. "Dearie, what makes you think you can?" "You're just illusions," Rain spat, shaking his head to clear the haunting images. Allure watched him with mounting concern. "Ghosts of the past," he admitted, shy. "They doubt me, and perhaps they're right." She halted their march. "Oh, listen to me. The curse on your bloodline feeds on despair. It's trying to break you." He looked into her eyes, desperation seeping into his voice. "What if I am not enough? What if all this is for nothing?" She sighed softly. "Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting in spite of it. The fact that you question yourself means you understand the gravity of your role, but don't let it consume you." Her words kindled a small flame of resolve within him. "Oh, you're right. We can't turn back now." They reached the temple, a monolith partially buried in sand, its entrance guarded by statues worn by time. As they stepped inside, the temperature dropped sharply. The interior was a labyrinth of corridors adorned with cryptic symbols and guarded by ancient mechanisms designed to deter intruder. Navigating the maze, they encountered trials, testing their intellect and willpower, puzzles that bent reality, paths that looped back upon themselves, and illusions crafted to ensnare the weak-minded. Together they overcame each obstacle, their combined strengths compensating for the other's weaknesses. At last they entered a grand chamber where the heart of the tower hovered above an ornate pedestal. It was a crystalline orb pulsating with pure energy, a beacon of hope amid the surrounding darkness. But their relief was short-lived. A slow clap echoed through the chamber, and from the shadows emerged a figure draped in tattered robes, eyes gleaming with malevolent intent. "Welcome, Watcher," sneered. "I've been expecting you to." Rain stepped forward, shielding Albrill's fury. The sorcerer bowed mockingly. "I'm Malakar, once a guardian like you, but I saw the futility in resisting the inevitable. The tower's power is mine to claim." "You've corrupted yourself," Rain retorted. "Stand aside." Malachar laughed. "You misunderstand. I am here to relieve you of your burden." Without warning, Malachar unleashed a torrent of dark energy. Rain raised his sword just in time, the force driving him backward. Allure countered with a blast of light, but the sorcerer deflected it effortlessly. "Your light cannot reach me," Malachar taunted. "Biori, just as his doubts will doom him." Rain felt the weight of the sorcerer's words pressing down upon him. The internal darkness he battled threatened to overtake him. Visions of failure, of a world consumed by shadow, flooded his mind. "Rain Foka," Allure cried out, struggling against Malachar's overpowering magic. He clenched his fists, trying to dispel the despair, but the sorcerer's influence was strong, amplifying every fear he'd ever harbored. "See how easily you falter." "Falter," Malachar goaded, "or you were never meant to succeed." Rain dropped to one knee, the weight unbearable. "Yeah, but maybe he's right," Taranki whispered. "Darren, maybe this is beyond me." Allure fought her way to his side, her voice piercing through the haze. "Try look at me. Rain, remember why you're here." He met her gaze, and in her eyes he saw unwavering faith, not just in the cause, but in him. "Your ancestors may have failed," she continued, "but they didn't have what you have. They didn't have someone to stand beside them." Her words ignited a spark within. The darkness ebbed slightly enough for him to grasp hold of his resolve. Rain rose to his feet, a newfound determination surging through him. He turned to face Malakar, his voice steady. Melachara's expression twisted with rage. Bold words for someone who's already lost. Not lost, Rain corrected. He tapped into the latent connection with the tower, feeling its remaining essence intertwine with his own. Channeling this energy, he directed it through his sword, which now glowed with a brilliant light. Malakar recoiled. Impossible. Impossible. Your reign ends here. He advanced, each step pushing back the shadows. Allure joined him, her staff amplifying their combined light. Together, they were a beacon piercing through Malakar's darkness. The sorcerer unleashed his full fury, but his attacks dissipated against the radiant barrier surrounding them. Backed into a corner, Malakar let out a primal scream as Rain closed the distance. With a swift motion, Rain struck his blade, slicing through the corruption. Malakar's form disintegrated into wisps of shadow, his final echo a whisper of disbelief. Silence settled over the chamber, the oppressive weight that had lingered lifted, replaced by a serene calm. Rain approached the heart of the tower. Up close, it resonated with a gentle hum synchronized with his own heartbeat. It's time, Allure said, softly. He nodded. She smiled warmly. You had the strength all along. I merely helped you see it. As he reached out to grasp the heart, a warmth spread through him. Visions of the tower restored, the realm's healing, and a future free from the looming darkness filled his mind. But a lingering question remained: what sacrifices would be required to maintain this balance? Rain reached out, his fingers brushing against the crystalline surface of the heart. As he made contact, a surge of energy coursed through him, intertwining his essence with the artifact's luminous core. The warmth spread rapidly, dissolving the remaining shadows in the chamber and illuminating the space with a radiant light that seemed to breathe life back into the very walls around them. Allure watched intently as the heart responded to Rain's touch. Try, it's working. Try, she whispered, her voice filled with hope. Rain felt a profound connection to the tower, as if the very essence of his lineage was flowing through him, reaffirming his purpose. The heart's energy pulsed in harmony with his heartbeat, creating a resonance that echoed throughout the chamber and beyond, reaching the farthest corners of the Black Tower. He carefully lifted the heart from its pedestal, feeling its weight, both physical and symbolic. We need to return to the tower, he said, determination hardening his voice. Dearie, there's no time to lose. As they made their way back through the temple, the environment began to shift. The oppressive heat of the desert gave way to a cooler, more stable climate. The corridors once fraught with peril now felt navigable, the symbols on the walls glowing softly to guide their path. It was as if the heart was purifying the very space around them, paving the way for their return. Emerging from the temple, Rain and Allure found the desert transformed. The sands had settled, revealing a path that led directly back to the Black Tower. The sky above was clear, the fractured colors now mending into a serene expanse. It was a sign that their mission was progressing, that the realms were beginning to heal. As they traveled, Rain felt the tower's energy growing stronger with each step they took toward home. The air became fresher, the land more vibrant, and the signs of chaos receded. Yet Rain remained vigilant, knowing that the restoration was only as strong as his resolve. Upon reaching the tower, Rain felt an immediate connection as they approached. The structure, once dim and lifeless, now shimmered with renewed energy. He could see the cracks mending, the obsidian walls regaining their lustrous sheen. The whispers of the realms had softened, turning into harmonious melodies that spoke of balance and renewal. Inside, the grand hall was illuminated by the heart's presence, its light mingling with the tower's core. Rain approached the central obelisk once more, now vibrant and pulsating with strength. Carefully, he placed the heart into a specially crafted recess within the obelisk, aligning it with ancient engravings that had remained dormant for centuries. As the heart settled into place, a brilliant surge of energy erupted from the obelisk, cascading through the tower and radiating outward to the connected realm. The power was immense, filling every corner of existence with a balanced force that quelled the chaos and restored harmony. Rain stood back, feeling the weight of his duty lift ever so slightly. The tower was no longer on the brink of collapse. Its power was stable, its role as the axis of all things reaffirmed. Yet he knew that this was not the end of his journey, but rather a new beginning. Allure approached him, her armor gleaming in the heart's light. You did it, Rain. The tower is safe, and the realms are healing. He nodded, gratitude and exhaustion etched on his face. Sigh, we did it together. I couldn't have done this without you. She smiled warmly. You had the strength all along. The heart merely amplified what was already within you. Rain felt a sense of peace he hadn't known in years. The darkness that had plagued him, the doubts that had threatened to consume him, they had been overcome, not just by his own will, but by the bonds he had forged along the way. Allura's unwavering support had been the catalyst that turned his inner turmoil into steadfast determination. As they made their way to the central chamber, the tower's energy enveloped them, a protective embrace that signified the restoration of balance. The once dim corridors were now bathed in a soft golden light, each step resonating with the renewed purpose of the watchers who had come before him. In the heart of the tower, Rain felt a profound connection to his ancestors. Their presence was palpable, a comforting presence that assured him he was not alone in his duty. The legacy of the Watchers was one of sacrifice, courage, and unwavering dedication to maintaining the balance of all things. Rain took a deep breath, feeling the culmination of his journey settle within him. The tower is safe for now, he said, his voice steady and resolute. Allura placed a hand on his shoulder. But the balance must be maintained. The realms will always need guardians like you. He nodded, understanding the gravity of her words. I accept this responsibility. I will continue to protect the tower and the balance it upholds. As they stood together, the tower's light enveloping them, Rain felt a renewed sense of purpose. The journey had tested him in ways he had never imagined, pushing him to confront not only external threats, but also the darkness within himself. Through it all, he had emerged stronger, more aware of the true meaning of his role as the Watcher. The realms beyond the tower began to shimmer with restored energy, the chaos that had once threatened to consume them now quelled by the heart's power. Nature thrived once more, cities rebuilt from the ashes, and the creatures that had been twisted by darkness returned to their rightful form. Rain and Allura stood at the pinnacle of the Black Tower, gazing out at the harmonious expanse that stretched before them. The world was healing, each realm finding its place in the intricate tapestry of existence. The Black Tower stood as a beacon of balance, its influence steady and enduring. What's next for you? Allura asked, breaking the comfortable silence between them. Rain pondered the question, reflecting on his journey. Trek, I think it's time to ensure that future generations understand the importance of their role. The legacy of the Watchers must continue, but perhaps with new methods and alliances to prevent the stagnation that plagued my ancestors. Allura nodded thoughtfully. Collaboration could strengthen our defenses against any future threats. The realms are interconnected, after all. He smiled, feeling a sense of hope for the first time in what felt like an eternity. Yes, working together to maintain the balance. It's a better path forward. As the sun set, casting a warm glow across the rejuvenated landscapes, Rain felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The tower's light shone brightly, a testament to his perseverance and the bonds he had forged along the way. The journey had been arduous, filled with challenges that tested both his strength and his spirit, but in the end it had reaffirmed his purpose. He turned to Allura, gratitude evident in his eyes. Thank you, Allura. Without your help, I couldn't have succeeded. She smiled, her armor reflecting the fading light. Higher, we all have a part to play. I'm just glad I could be a part of your journey. Rain extended his hand, and she took it firmly, a symbol of their shared triumph. Together, they looked out over the realms, knowing that while challenges would always arise, the balance had been restored for now. As night fell, the stars shimmered above, each one a reminder of the countless realms connected by the Black Tower. Rain felt a sense of peace, understanding that his role as the Watcher was not one of isolation, but of connection and guardianship. The tower stood tall and unwavering, its light a beacon of hope and balance. Rain knew that his journey was far from over, but he was no longer burdened by doubt or fear. He had embraced his destiny, understanding that true strength comes not from avoiding darkness, but from facing it head-on and finding the light within. With a final glance at the harmonious expanse before him, Rain felt ready for whatever the future held. The Watcher of the Black Tower had fulfilled his duty, but his story was just beginning, a story of guardianship, resilience, and the enduring power of balance.